Hey folks, welcome back to West Yorkshire Retro Gamer. Doing a couple of Leeds United videos today. The first being about the summer transfer window. The ins and outs, who's come in, who's left, and who remains from last season. So I'll just do a quick rundown of everything. Let's get the ones who have got nothing to do with Leeds United anymore. Archie Gray obviously left for big money to Tottenham. Charlie went to Toulouse in France. Drame went to Hull. Came on as a sub in the match yesterday and lost. Somerville went to West Ham for big money. JB has gone out on loan to Plymouth again. He had a decent loan period before getting injured last season at Plymouth, so hopefully he'll develop a little bit more, getting some game time in the Championship. Llorente is gone. Made a bit of a loss on him, unfortunately, but they've kind of made up for the losses on some of the other bigger transfers, including Jorginho Rutter, who's gone to Brighton. Glenn Camera has left. I think he's gone to Rennes in France, I think. Could be wrong on that one. Poveda had a good loan spell with Sheffield Wednesday last season, but has opted for Sunderland this season on a permanent transfer. Jim Shackleton, shame to see him leave, but he's left to go to Sheffield United on a free transfer after his contract expired. Leeds did offer him a new deal, but he's opted to go elsewhere. So all the best to Jamie there. Obviously came through the academy. Chris Klassen, what a weird summer he's had. Left to go to Rakow in Poland, only to have his contract terminated after the rumour had it that he'd been pictured going to McDonald's. What a strange situation that is. So the Norway goalkeeper is looking for another club now. He obviously needs to get a little bit fitter if he's to get himself a first team place with another club. I'm sure he'll find somewhere. He wasn't a bad goalkeeper in the end. Liam Cooper, what a strange summer for him as well. He's just recently had his 33rd birthday and he's still without a club. He was rumoured to be linked with the likes of Hull and Blackburn, but nothing's materialised, and as far as I know, he's still without a club. Sinisterra, I mean, this surprised me. I thought that everything had already been done with Sinisterra, but the money has now been made for the permanent transfer, so it must have only been a loan up until this summer. So he's at Bournemouth full time now. Luke Ayling, again another whose contract ran out, and we did offer Cooper one, by the way, as well. Did we offer Ayling another? I don't think we did actually. But Ayling's left to go to Middlesbrough on a free after his contract ran out. Mark Rocker, I think he's gone to Betis, but again on a relatively cheap deal. Christensen, he's gone out on loan again. I think he's gone to the Bundesliga. Can't remember which club he's gone to. But yeah, he's literally the only one that's gone out on loan out of the exiles, shall we say. So yeah, don't really know what's going on with him, and I couldn't care really. Robin Koch, he's gone back to Bundesliga on a free transfer after his contract ran out. Sam Greenwood has gone on loan to Preston. That could be a good loan for him. Greenwood, a little bit like Gallagher, in a sense that he's really just found himself down the pecking order, but unlike Gallagher, who's still at the club, Greenwood has been able to get himself a loan deal over to Preston, which I think is a decent move for Sam. I don't think he's a bad player. One hell of a free kick on him. So yeah, hopefully he'll develop a bit more, and we'll see what happens there. And same with Sonny Perkins, he's got himself a loan spell. I think he's gone to Leyton Orient, so hopefully he'll get some game time there. Again, Sonny Perkins is just well off the pace at the minute compared to the other strikers. He's not going to get games. He was partnering Matteo Joseph in the under-21s, and look at where Joseph is in comparison to Perkins. I know that Joseph's a couple of years older, but they were both in the under-21s at the same time, and nothing's really materialised there, has it? So, so hopefully Sonny will develop, and then you never know when he comes back. So yeah, that's it really with the outgoings. Even though there's 19 players that have left the club either temporarily or permanently, out of those, there's only about 4 who would have definitely got game time, and maybe about another 4 who would have at least got onto the bench. The rest of them really, either the wages were too much or they were complete and utter backups. So I don't, as much as it hurts a little bit to lose a couple of them. This is football, and no player is ever bigger than the club. So, yep, that's that with them. So they've gone either on permanent or on loan. So let's have a look at the new boys. And one of the new boys isn't entirely new. Alex Cairns. We've got him on a. They always say undisclosed fees. I mean, I don't know the situation that he had. I think it was at Fleetwood, but effectively, Alex Cairns has replaced Chris Klassen as the third choice goalkeeper. So again, Alex unlikely to get any game time, but he came through Leeds' youth ranks. He was kind of third choice goalkeeper, I think, back in the 15-16 season. He's gone on loan. Well, sorry, he's had football in League One and League Two. Gained quite a few first team games from it, and he's come back an experienced goalkeeper now. So he'll provide suitable backup for Melier going forward. So I don't have any concerns there. I don't think Alex will play, to be honest. But it's he knows the club, and it's always nice to welcome back players that have come through the youth academy. Tanaka looks quite a tidy signing, doesn't he? In the few minutes that he came onto the pitch yesterday, he's always looking for the ball. Quite tenacious. Lost it once, ran right back for it, won it back. I've always liked how the Japanese and South Koreans play football. There's just something about those two countries in particular that it's a really unique style of football, but it's quite nice to watch. So looking forward to seeing what AO can bring to the team. Isaac Schmidt, he was one of the new boys who didn't feature, but he was the final signing of the transfer window. 24-year-old fullback from Switzerland. Could he be the new Berardi? Who knows? He actually admitted in an interview that he got a red card for a challenge he did on Wilf Nonto. Back when they were both playing in Switzerland, so interesting to have them both on the same team now at least. But again, not massive money spent on any of those first 3 transfers, to be honest. So it's a bit of a punt, but I don't think it's much of a loss. Financially, it's probably decent investments there. Cairns has got no sale. He's got no sale on value because he's in his 30s now. It's weird to think that Cairns is in his 30s. It's a bit like Byram. He's got no sale on value. But Tanaka's in his mid-20s. Schmidt approaching mid-20s. So maybe some sell on value, or at the very least, we'll get the best out of them out of their career. So maybe we'll sign those at a good time. Jayden Bogle signed from Sheffield United for about 5 million. Tanaka and Schmidt were both maybe about 3 to 4 million each. So Bogle for about 5. Not sure on Bogle at the moment. He's certainly got something going forward. You know, he's quite attack-minded. Defensively, ooh, not too sure yet, but it's early days. Every one of these new players will get a chance, as far as I'm concerned. You know, they've joined the club. Farker will have run the rule over them, you know, before signing them. So you know, they'll all get I'm sure they'll all get a chance. But yeah, Bogle for me defensively. You know, I'd like to see him be a little bit better. Moving on, Joe Rodon. We're all familiar with what Rodon's capable of based on his performance last season. He was one of our best players. This season, I'm not 100% convinced. He's got himself a permanent deal for around £10 million. And has he been as good as last season? I'm not convinced yet. I'm always very sceptical when we get a loan player who has a great season and then we get that loan player on a permanent deal and it just feels like, right, yeah, that's why they were playing well, to get away from their parent club. You know, kind of put on a facade almost. You know, Rodon's got all the capability to get back to the form that he had last season. But yeah, based on his start to this season, I'm not as convinced. I think that him and Strout will make a very good partnership, but got to improve. Looks rusty. You know, he got muscled off by that Bedia that, you know, forced Millier into a save. And all right, you know, Bedia's seemed like quite a big dude, but you know, Joe ain't no small fry, is he? You know what I mean? So he's getting, and again, you know, like Joe was so well known last season for being so comfortable with the ball at his feet. You know, he's a ball playing centre back. And again, you know, his passing hasn't been great. He's looked reasonably solid defensively at times, but again, he's not the player of last season, and that concerns me a little bit. Hopefully, it gets better as the season goes on. Joe Rothwell, he's coming on loan from Bournemouth. Just gives a different type of midfield option to the likes of Ampadu and Gruev, who are both more defensive minded. Rothwell's a bit more like Tanaka in the sense that he's a little bit better, you know, going forward rather than kind of defensive minded. But experienced player, 29 years old now. So hopefully, you know, he'll be a good option for us. And again, on loan, it's no massive cost to the club. So, you know, we'll see what happens with that one. Ramazani, bought for around 6 million-ish, something like that, I think. Got quite a bit of pedigree from his youth training. Looks quite tidy, you know, quite pacey. So it'll be quite interesting to see how he does coming into the club. And then we've got Manor Solomon on loan from Tottenham. Looked very good versus Hull. Got in a great assist for the first goal for Joseph to score. And when you consider he hasn't played a lot of football recently, yeah, good debut for Solomon. Yeah, pleased for him. It certainly looks the part. So yeah, that'll be good. It'll be good to see what he can bring to the table. So I mean, in terms of those 8 players, you know, they've just about replaced all of the major departures that we've had. I would have liked to get another number 10 and also maybe another backup centre back. But you know, what we've got is what we've got. I don't think that we've overpaid for anybody in particular. You know, all of the signings are all relatively modest for the Championship. But the irony is that we've spent about £30 million on the incomings there, and Birmingham in League One have also spent £30 million. So I think things are just getting out of hand, really, from a financial standpoint. And the thing is, again, is that the £30 million that we've spent is one of the biggest outlays in the Championship. So make of that what you will. And then just touching on the rest of the squad, Brendan Aronson has returned to the club after his exile loan spell, and I have to credit Brendan. He's looked good so far. Certainly, as long as he's in the opposition half, and comfortably in the opposition half, he's looked very good. I still think he's a bit soft if he's closer to our half, or the centre circle, or halfway line. He's still a bit weak, in terms of just being that bit tougher in possession. But yeah, further forward, absolutely no complaints with him. He's already got 2 goals for the season. Could have had 3 goals by now. And he's really getting involved. He's really getting involved in the attacks, and long may that continue. So Brendan could be the answer at number 10. He really could. He looks up for it. So fair play to the kid. Was I happy about the way that him and Max Verber treated the club? No, absolutely not. But the way to make up for it is just like what Wilf Nonto did, and that was to get his head down and work hard and contribute to the team. And that's what I feel Aronson has done so far. If Aronson keeps this up for the season, he could easily get into double figures for goals, and that's important, from anyone playing in those advanced positions. I think Aronson could. I really do. Dan James, if he can match the kind of figures he got last season, I'll be very happy with that return. He had the best goals and assists season that he's ever had in his career last season. So again, we just need more of the same from Dan. When he starts games, he was injured for the last game, but when Dan starts games, that pace at Championship level, defenders can't deal with it. Dan's already got a goal this season as well, so if he can match the same kind of figures or even better than last season, then Dan will be very effective at this level. Ethan, he's been made first choice captain. For this season, he was sharing the captaincy with Pascal Strout last season, and he's been made first choice captain this season. So hopefully we get a really solid season out of Ethan. And again, with the depth we've got at the moment, he's been able to go back into midfield, which I think is his better position. And he's very well spoken when he does his interviews. He's representing the club very well. So onwards and upwards for Ethan. And then his midfield partner, Ilya Gruev, started very slowly at Leeds last season, but as soon as he got into it and got game time, got used to playing in England, very good signing. And again, I think Ampadu and Gruev, they can boss the midfield this season. There's no reason why they shouldn't. And they've had time together as a midfield pair now, and they can definitely kick on now, definitely. Ilamilier, fully established number 1 goalkeeper at Leeds now. Still young for a goalkeeper. Still loads that he can improve on, of course. I know that a lot of fans are very hit and miss with Meslier, but I still think we have a very good goalkeeper there, and I'd love to see Meslier be our first choice keeper for a decade at least. There's no reason why not. If he can, he got the Golden Glove last year, which was partially down to having a very good defence in front of him, but he's still got to produce the goods, and he produced them at big moments at times last season, and I think he can do the same again this season. No reason why not. So I really believe that Meslier will become France's #1 goalkeeper eventually. If Leeds get back into the Premier League and sustain the Premier League status, and if we keep Meslier, and if Meslier keeps his position as first choice goalkeeper, I see no reason why he can't become the France international at some point. Joe Gallagher, little surprised that he stayed. I thought the club might have looked to get him a loan spell, a bit similar to Sam Greenwood. But, it is what it is, and ultimately, is he going to have much of an effect? He's probably like a false 9 or a number 10. He's still young, like he's only 21, 22, something like that. He's still got bags of time to improve. But has his career stalled by being a backup? He's too good for the under-21s. There's no doubt about that. He's a very natural finisher at that level. But at this level now, when you consider that Matteo Joseph has gone ahead of him, he's got Patrick Bamford, Joel Perreault, Brendan Aronson, players like that he's got to get ahead of. I just don't see it. I don't see it. When the loan window opens up again, I wouldn't be drastically surprised if Joe was to go out on loan, if I'm honest. Just to get him some first team games, see if he can get his development back on track. Good kid, nothing against the kid, and he's come up with one or two really big moments in his career at Leeds, but you can count them all on one hand. That's the problem. So yeah, hopefully Joe can push on somehow. If he shows enough in training, he'll get his chance. I'm sure of that. But has he got what it takes? That's still to be seen. Joel Perreault, such a strange situation with Joel, isn't it? He's not first choice in the starting 11, but he came on as a sub yesterday. Very natural finish, which is what Joel has in his locker. You don't score 44 goals in 88 games for Swansea and not be an half decent striker. But again, like with Joel, he's kind of like a false 9 almost. He's not a 10. He's proven that he's not a 10. And does he have the attributes of a natural number 9? From a finishing point of view, yeah. But it's a good player to have in your squad. If Farker is going to rely on Matteo Joseph, who we'll talk about in a minute, it's always good to be able to call on players like Perreault who can have moments of magic like yesterday. Junior Firpo got 7 assists from left back last season. Really good return from that point of view. I've always had my doubts about his defensive capabilities. Even at this level, it's not always been as assured as you'd like to see from a player that's been on Barcelona's books before now. But the cross for his assist yesterday, that cross pass into Perreault, bloody superb. Just reminded me of that ball that I think it was Hernandez that put it in the path of Dallas, who scored against Stoke, I think it was. Really similar to that. Just put it up on an absolute plate for him. Really, really good vision, perfect weight of pass. Again, perfect positioning. Really good vision. You can't ask for anything more. In terms of creating a goal and this is what Junior can do. He's very capable from an assist point of view. Just wish he'd tighten up a little bit defensively. What a super assist for Junior yesterday. Really, really good. Caldallo, back up. I mean, you could toss a coin between Caldallo and Alex Gaines. In the couple of games that Darlow's had for Leeds, when he's played in the Cups, I've not been convinced by him. I really haven't. So, personally, I'd put Gaines ahead of Darlow if it were me. But I don't think either are a better option than Millie, eh? If Darlow had left, to get first team games elsewhere, I wouldn't have blamed him, to be honest. So yeah, not much to really say on Darlow. So moving on to a player who, he's had moments in previous seasons and has looked really, really good at the under-21s, and he's represented 2 countries at youth level. Matteo Joseph. He's already got a couple of assists. He got his first goal of the season yesterday as well. Daniel Farker has put faith in Matteo to be the number 9 this season, to be the first choice 9. And he's looked the part so far. Can't really argue with his contribution up to now. And the thing is that he's 20 years old, so much potential. I mean, I think we snapped him up for about £1 million from Espanyol at the moment, and it's still very early days, but I'd say that's a steal. Just seems like a very natural striker. He's always got an eye for goal. He's always wanting to get in the right positions and get some shots off and things like that. And that's all you can ask for from a young striker. Just someone who's willing to, to attack and wants the ball at his feet. You get a good ball into Matteo Joseph and he'll try and do something with it. As I say, he's already off the mark in terms of both goals and assists for this season now, and that's probably all he needs. He just needed that little bit of a bonus to boost his confidence further. He doesn't seem like a player that lacks any kind of confidence, but nothing builds confidence more for a striker than goals and assists, and he's got a bit of both. Very early on in the season, which is really good for him. So, yeah, definitely wish Matteo Joseph. I mean, I wish all the Leeds players all the very best, but players like Matteo Joseph, let's wish him all the best. Let's I'm sure the fans will keep doing what they've been doing from the day one with him, and that's get behind him and support him. Same with all these players. Yeah, moving on to Max Weber. I mean, he ain't going to get ahead of Strauch and Roden. That's pretty obvious. And then into his secondary position, he ain't going to get ahead of Firpo. So, is he happy playing second fiddle or third fiddle, whichever way you look at it? He's stuck around. So whenever he plays now, he has to show that commitment that he showed initially when he first joined us. When he first joined us, he looked a good player. For the price we paid as well, really looked a good player. But, he massively tarnished his reputation. And, now it's, very much like Nonto last season and Aronson this season. Weber has got to get his head down, almost stay out of the limelight, and then when he is called upon, just show why he's a full international. For his country, show why he should be playing in the first 11, because he's got some tough competition ahead of him at this moment. A very suitable backup. I've got no issues with that. but he's got a lot to prove to get on side with the fans. I went to the Leeds Valencia game, the friendly, just before the season started, and I didn't boo either of them, but the fans booed Verba and Aronson when they came on as subs, and you can understand why. That was the perfect opportunity for the fans to vent their frustration and make their opinions known to the two players, and basically to explain that you two are back at Leeds now, or bloody well show that you want to be here. Reflecting in your performances. Brendan, when he's had the chance, has done so far. When Max gets the chance, he needs to take it. That's my take on that one. Pascal Strout, great to see him back. Great to see Pascal back. Looking fit, looking strong. He's been given the vice captaincy for the season. Second choice captain, and good to see him back in his natural position as centre back as well. He had a season a few seasons ago where he was being played at left back, which was never his position. But he looks fit after a really long injury. He was out for like half a season, but looks fit, looks good, strong. Quite vocal. Even though he's not got the armband, you can see that he's communicating with his teammates. Yeah, no, it's good to see Pascal back, and again, if we get promoted, he's an outside shout for a Holland call up. If he can stay fit, if he can show that he is of a level that could compete in the Premier League when we do eventually get promoted, there's no reason why he couldn't get into the Holland team. And if he wanted to, he could even try and get a Belgium call up, because he could represent either country. But either way, as I say, great to have him back, and definitely the lead man in the centre back position, and also a very good threat from aerials as well. Unlike Roden, who did everything right last season apart from score a goal, you just know that Pascal will get in there and get his head on things, from free kicks and corners. And we've even discovered he can take a penalty. Whoever saw that coming, that Pascal, bloody 6'3" towering centre back, would be half decent at taking penalties. So fair play. Yeah, really good to have him back. Patrick Bamford, currently injured. Seems like how many times have we said Patrick Bamford currently injured? We all know by now, when Patrick's fully fit and on it, he's a capable striker even in the Premier League. But all these injuries, he's just been, his time at Leeds has just been hampered so much by injury. And I think, that, coupled with the fact that sometimes he can be a bit wasteful in front of goal, has made him a bit of a hit and miss figure at Leeds. And we signed him for big money at the time. £7 million looked a lot at the time when we hadn't really been known for spending a lot of money, especially at Championship level. So, I hope we can get Patrick back fully fit and firing, because when he is fully fit and firing, more than capable at this level. I mean, he's 30-year-old now, so he hasn't got a long time remaining, in the top two divisions. So he's really got to kick on and get himself fit again. It's so vital for him now. Yeah, it's going to be important for Patrick, because at the moment, Matteo Joseph is keeping both Patrick Bamford and Joel Perreault out of that starting 11. Sam Byram, he's obviously going to be playing second fiddle to Jayden Bogle, but again, Byram, when he came on yesterday, looked very, very comfortable at right back. Just so experienced and assured on the ball. got the right tackles in, brought the ball up from right back, just made the right kind of pass. You can't not like the experience that Sam Byron brings to the team. You know, when you look at the relatively young age of the overall squad, you know, that experience from Sam, very important. And if Jayden Bogle goes off form, you know, Sam's a very capable replacement. So I'm happy that we've got Sam in the squad, and that, you know, last season, you know, he had a couple of injuries, but they weren't mega long ones. You know, he probably played more last season than probably anyone thought he could. So yeah, fair play to him. And then finally, Wilfred Gnonto has definitely kind of, you know, sorted out the issues of last season. He had a decent spell last season, actually, you know, in terms of getting back on side with the fans and, you know, knuckling down in terms of getting some goals and assists. You know, got 10 goal involvements in a relatively small number of games last season. And this season, despite losing his two best mates in Somerville and Rutter, has actually looked much more on it, far hungrier to succeed, and looks very dangerous. He was offside a lot yesterday, which was kind of annoying. You know, just look across the line, see where everyone is, and then get yourself onside. He had a goal disallowed, but he was comfortably offside. But he's getting, you know, he's getting in the right kind of areas. He's looking good in attack, and looks a lot more up for it. You know, he really does. And he's just signed a brand new contract as well. You know, which has probably been designed A, to keep suitors off him, and B, just to cheer him up a little bit and to G him up a little bit. And I you know, based on what I've seen so far this season, his ball control's really good. You know, he keeps it nice and tight. You know, nice and tight to feet, and just, yeah, definitely going to be dangerous this season. Gnonto, he could have a really good season. So all in all, as you can see there, those are the ones in the blue box are no longer with us, certainly for this season at least. And then the ones in the green boxes are very much part of the team this season, and that's what we've got to work with, at least until January at the very minimum. To conclude, I think the squad's good. As I say, a couple of small areas that I think we could have maybe gotten an extra player or two, but overall, I think Farke's got quite a few options available to him now, and it's just a case of kicking on. You know, two draws and 2 wins in the first 4 games is not shabby. I think that's a decent start. The only match that I think we could have done better on was the Portsmouth one. We should have won that. Drawing 3-3 was crazy. But an away point and clean sheet at West Brom, that's not a terrible result. You know, it's against another team who could be in the top 6 come the end of the season, so I don't think that's dreadful at all. And aside from the Portsmouth match, we've had 3 clean sheets. You know, the 2 wins have been 2-0 each. Nothing wrong with that. You know, we've got players who look up for it and look the part, and you know, it'll be exciting to see how these new lads get on as well. So yeah, that's my review of the summer transfer window and how the squad looks now. I'm going to do my championship predictions video based on the closing of the transfer window. So that's coming up very shortly, so have a look at that. But in the meantime, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate the support, and there'll be some more live streams coming up as well, so keep an eye out for those. In the meantime, have a great day. So that this Leeds United squad can push on now, and let's hope that the international break goes quickly, because I hate these international breaks, I really do. In the meantime, have a great day. See you in the next one. Bye bye.